Hey everyone, so as you know, I do a lot of tech stuff as well, and I'm going to put this on my other channel, Tech Disruption, but a lot of tech things happening with new Apple launches, new Microsoft Surface tablets, Windows 8 coming out, and this one's about, I downloaded the brand new production release of Windows 8, and I'm trying it out on my desktop in a virtual environment. I'm using VirtualBox to do it. I'm unsure about it. I purchased it, took advantage of the discounted price for now, and I figured I'd have a copy to play with, and if I like it and it's stable, I'll put it on my primary computer. But this video is really about my initial reaction. And I'm not an Apple fanboy or anything, but I do have a lot of Apple products. I have Windows software as well. I do a lot of gaming, all my high-end photography applications I primarily use on Windows. I still use Windows a lot. I like Windows, so I'll leave it at that. I've been playing with some of the developer and release candidate previews of Windows 8, again on a virtual environment, and there's some things that I'm liking, other things I don't. I haven't had, I would say, when new versions of Windows come out, I've always been the uber geek and wanted to install them as soon as possible. The same day they came out, and risk everything. It may not work on your primary system. This time I was a little hesitant. I have not done that yet. It's really odd that a lot of the deep technology features, the advanced features that I tend to gravitate to or are interested in, they're not being published very, very easily. They're they're out there, and I've seen some of it, but it's not easy to find. And I understand why they're doing this. The power user marketing, someone going from Windows Pro or Ultimate 7 to Windows 8, why should you do it? Because for the most part, it looks like some of the features are being taken away. But anyway, so in a virtual environment, I'm playing with it. My initial reaction is that it's a little bit more usable navigation and UI wise than what I had experienced in the developer previews. I don't know if I'm missing something from the virtual environment I'm running it in, but the top corners of hitting windows and stuff, I'm not quite finding that yet. But switching between the tile-based approach and the desktop, that's fine. I think my initial reaction is, even though it looks, the UI for an ordinary or untrained Windows user, it looks very simple, but for me, a little bit more advanced user, you're almost back to the keyboarding days of you have to know hotkeys and certain things to launch apps, and old things you're familiar with. To get into the command window, you have to typically use the Windows Run button, and just some different things like that. Now I'm using more keystroke things, which is a little slower than well, keyboard's typically faster, but you got to remember what the keys were, and it's a little bit awkward. The tiles seem to be more set up to be used with your hands, like an iPad versus a mouse. I'm using the keyboard way more, right? I'm scrolling between the tiles and all those things. So it's a difference, definitely. I'm finding that the Windows Store seems to be pretty nice, and you can install things through that pretty easily. I would say that many of the free applications that I've downloaded and played with, they've not launched already. I mean, something's going on with the apps are not working, they don't launch, so that's kind of odd. Just common, so what was it, Popular Science is one of them. I downloaded free tile that, I guess shows articles on Popular Science, and that didn't launch, and there's a few other ones. Navigating and rearranging the tiles that's actually kind of an easy thing, and I could see that being a good way to organize your stuff. What else can I tell you? One of the things I've noticed is that the color schemes, and you can change them all around, all that stuff, that's just great, but the UI with the tiles and the desktop, it's almost a rollback to late 80s, it's not this extreme, but mid-90s graphics. The use of very simple RGB colors, almost a limited, almost 256 color scheme throughout the user interface. I'm sure it is a little more than this, but it just seems a little blocky, a little less refined than what a year 2012 operating system should be. I know they did it to simplify this and put it on a tablet, but it just seems a little less glossy, if that makes any sense. It's very 256 colors, and that's what it seems to be. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of a rollback to something we had decades ago. It's like, do I even need my nice video card for this or not? Certainly I do to play games and all that, but it seems to be that the compatibility, if, let's say I had 100 apps, there are only 10 of them that were dubious whether they would work under Windows 8, and it looked like most of them just implied that I had to download a separate special driver for Windows 8, which it seemed like it was available. So I have not had any compatibility issues just yet. But keep in mind, I've done a fresh install into a VM environment. It doesn't a process where it audits your Windows 7 system if you're upgrading and tells you if you're going to have any problems. I did that, but then installed it separately. So I didn't, if I actually did the real computer upgrade, I may run into more problems. What else? So the advanced features that I'm hunting for, and I've not found too many of them, but to me there's not a whole lot of difference between Windows 7. It's very limited difference. There's only one thing that I've spotted so far, even read about. Again, I'm having a hard time finding any differences. It's the storage pool functionality, which is new to Windows 8 and something that I've been wanting Microsoft to do for years. What this is, step back, you can do this in Linux with some functionality. You can do this in separate NAS servers you can purchase. But what it is, it's functionality that says, I have these random group of disks. I have this USB drive that's hanging out over here. You know what, I happen to have this other USB drive attached, and I happen to have these two older hard drives I have available, and I have room in my computer for them. I just want to combine all these drives and have one gigantic storage pool, and I may want to use every bit of available space on those drives, or I may want to cut the size of the drives in half and use redundancy, so if any one of those drives fails, I don't lose my data. So it's called storage pools, and it exactly does that. You can add randomly sized drives, whether they're external or internal, and it treats it as one large storage pool, which I think is great. You map a drive, and it's whatever it is, it's drive E, right? And you could have 5 terabytes or more if you wanted to. Again, it's very similar to the drive extender functionality that was in the home server that a lot of geeks really liked. So that's been rolled into Windows 8 to some extent. I think it's a great way to do maybe a poor man's NAS server. You throw in a bunch of drives in the little computer, put on Windows 8, share the drive out, and then you can just map. Well, you can pull your media, your data from the storage pool drive that you shared. So that's what I was most excited about. my initial playing with it, it's a little tough in the VM environment, but it's very easy to set up. It doesn't get into the complexities that non-IT people may know about as far as RAID 1, 0, 0 plus 1, all that stuff. It just asks you, do you want one large storage pool using all available space, and if anything fails you could lose it, or do you want redundancy, or all those things. So it's very simple to set up. I've done it a couple times already with a virtual disk, and then attached a separate external drive. That's pretty neat. The external drive feature, you're gonna have it's going to be slower, I'm assuming, because it's detached storage. But that's a feature that you don't often see even in some of the NAS servers. I'm a big fan of the Synology drives. While you can plug in a USB to the Synology NAS, it doesn't allow you to roll up part of the storage pool. It's probably for performance reasons, but here you can do it at least. So that's kind of what I've seen so far. I'm hoping to play with the storage pool a little bit further, see what that can do. So far, I'm kind of mediocre on Windows 8. I like what they're doing to some extent. I wish the UI, I wish they just kept a start bar, the start button. It would have been no big deal in my view if they kept the tiles, they use the tiles, and when you kick into the desktop environment, just leave the start button. It's no big deal. So at least optionally allow you to use it, right? Maybe don't have the default setting that way, but allow me to turn it on. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to play with it a little bit more and decide if I want to put it on my main computer or not. So thanks for watching.